I've been a real estate investor for over 5 years. And I have flipped dozens and dozens of homes. And what I found is that design is everything. Today we're going to talk about a very unique property that we just sold. We don't normally do these small, quirky homes, but we did, and we want to tell you all about it. Design, like I say always, is everything when you're trying to sell a home. But this is a really funky property. Last week we actually dropped a video that was our flipping nightmares and all the terrible things that happened to this property. You gotta go check that out and subscribe so that you can be notified when we drop our next video next week on the before and after. The before and after is really fun because you get to see what it looked like before, and you get to see all the amazing design and all the finishes that we created for the after. It's a fun process, you gotta check it out. So if you watched this episode of Flipping Nightmares, then you'll understand that this property was an absolute nightmare. Everything went wrong. Everything went wrong. The only thing that went right was the design, because at the very end of the property, we were able to pull off a very beautiful, cost-effective design in two weird, funky properties. So I'm excited to walk you through how we did it and how you can do it also. We're gonna talk about colors. So 2022 has a really fun, bright color palette and rich, vibrant colors. But when you have a really small property, most importantly, you need to have a very bright color palette. We chose Drift of Mist and Extra White. So it's really fun to look through all the different colors from Sherwin-Williams, but those are my favorite colors right now for 2022, especially for the smaller homes. Actually, we're even using them into our bigger homes right now. Keeping it bright, keeping that space feel much bigger is going to help a small space feel bright and vibrant. Probably one of the best tips I could possibly give you if you're a listing agent or if you're a buyer's agent or if you're designing any type of home in general, you need to know who the buyer is. Who's going to be buying this house? What area is it in? What type of family is going to be moving in? These are all very, very important things to understand. These two homes are very unique, right? We know whoever is buying these two properties is going to be an investor. Therefore, both of them need to be ready and able to be rented out. That's what they're going to use it for. But we need to stage this and have it looking beautiful so that they get the concept of how they could rent it out, how it could be worth a good amount of money on the other side. It could even be a nightly rental, the location that it's in. So we need to show them, the buyer, exactly how the space could be laid out, how it could be functional in a really tight, cheap budget. When designing a small space, and really any space that you're trying to create a lot of texture, you need to develop a system within the house, within the room, that is very unique to the space, but also is very consistent. Something that I find that is super helpful is to take right angle shelves and desks and end tables and anything that you're going to be putting things on. Very important, because when it comes to design, texture changes everything, right? So let's go ahead and look at this a little bit. In this office space that we designed, you don't need a big shelf in this space because it is a very small space. The rule of thumb on a shelf is to never have more than 4 objects on a shelf. You can see behind me, I obviously have this rule also going on. You don't want clutter on a shelf for any reason. You want it to feel bigger than it actually is, right, in a small space. And these are all really cheap items. They're fun, they're unique. When you add circular and round decor, it changes the entire feel and texture of that space. It adds a lot of depth. So that would be my advice, is if you're decorating a tabletop or if you're decorating, a desk or a shelf, definitely add different textures so that it actually stands out and it doesn't just blend into the wall. Super easy and super cheap. And believe it or not, I did add all of these items into our Amazon link. Link is in the description below. Super great because you don't have to go and reinvent the wheel. That's really hard actually on a tight budget because you don't have the time, you don't have the energy. This is a plug and play scenario. I literally have everything that we decorated this house with inside of my Amazon account. Just go look at it, go grab what you want, get a feel for how you can decorate your own space or maybe a client's space. And using the link is a great way to support the channel, so thanks. Buy a lot of plants. Fake ones, real ones, probably fake ones if you're just decorating a space and you're not actually going to be living in the space. If no one lives there, please do not use real plants. Unfortunately, they will die and your clients will be super mad and you'll be super mad because it will look like crap when people are seeing the property. If you live there, however, I highly recommend using indoor plants that don't need a lot of light and that they're super easy. I'll do a video on maybe some easy plants that you can take care of that look fabulous in a space. So using fake plants, however, is super helpful because it adds a ton of texture, a lot of color, and it brings in that warm, cozy feel of home. And everybody right now is looking for that kind of rustic, warm feel when they're entering inside the house. And it's super cheap and super easy. So if you have a tiny space, like we just said, putting a plant against an empty wall, instead of putting a big shelf or putting some type of, desk or end table, sometimes it's just too much in a small space. It feels now you're cluttering up the entire space, right? Instead, you can just put a plant and all of a sudden it feels very light and bright. Boho, what boho is basically a woven type material. So it could be a seagrass, it can be multiple different textures and materials, to be honest. But basically it's types of baskets, it's rugs, it's plant holders, anything that is going to be woven, and we'll show you a bunch of examples here. I actually have one right here. It's super easy, like I said, and right now I think it's just crushing it. Boho theme is awesome. If you don't agree, tell me. Okay, so I just gave you 5 tips on how to change a small space in a unique house on a very tight budget and make it absolutely beautiful. I hope that was helpful so that you can change your space into a beautiful, inspiring environment. If you have any questions, be sure to comment in the section below. I will be sure to answer them right away. Thank you for watching this episode of Flipping Design. As always, we love your support and all of your amazing comments. Definitely make sure you subscribe, ring that bell, and if there's something that you specifically have concerns about or would like to learn how to design a specific space, let me know. That's what this is for. I don't know unless you tell me exactly what you're needing. So comment, tell me, reach out to me. I promise I'll get back to you. I would love feedback. I definitely would love to create a unique space for you as well. Until next time, see you on the flip side.